Hello, hello, and welcome back to Afternoon Drive here on a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Tuesday afternoon in Newburyport. My name is Drew Moholland. Hope you're enjoying this nice weather, and it is only going to get better. Hearing 80 degrees here the next couple days, so enjoy that. I was just talking off the air here. I think there's a day Red Sox game tomorrow. I might try to get over to that in between off days for the show, so that's a possibility. But do whatever you got to do here. There's a lot of high school games going on, and enjoy the nice weather. We've earned it, I think, and hopefully it sticks around. I think we are just about there as promised. So very good on the weather front. Just a beautiful, beautiful drive up here today, so it doesn't get any better than that. Don't forget, you can follow this show at Joppa, Joppa Afternoons, at Joppa Afternoons on Twitter. Feel free to shoot us any questions for our guests on Twitter, and we can ask them during the show. Questions, complaints, all that sort of stuff after the fact. We love it, and I try to post the shows there as soon as possible. Our great TV producer and web producer, David Kramer, who was just in here working on the cameras, I don't give him enough shout-outs, is nice enough to get those things up on the web, so we will try to get them posted quickly, as he always does, and then I'll put them on Twitter, and you can watch them all that way, too, if you miss a show. So that is a good way to do it. One of our favorite guests is in the house today. He's straight back from Florida, fresh back from Florida. Richie Eaton is in the house. We got a lot to talk about. He goes down. You probably heard him talking about some of the spring training games and doing some spring training coverage. He is back, and the Red Sox are cooking, so he had some good whatever it was in the water down there in Florida, and things are going well for the Red Sox. Another win last night. We had that monster sports night last night. Bruins lost game 2, so that series is back even at 1. Celtics win. They were home underdogs last night, and the Celtics get a win there. The banged up Celtics, so they are finding ways to win. They smoked Philadelphia last night, so the Celtics have a 1-0 series lead on that what was a massive Boston sports night last night. The only city in the nation right now with both winter sports teams in the playoffs, so how about that? We are definitely spoiled here in Boston, and as a 31-year-old, I've kind of been spoiled for a long time. I have a cousin who's like just in high school right now, and he does not know what it's like to not have sports teams in the playoffs at this time of year. So it's funny. It's good. It's a good time to be a Boston sports fan. I try to tell him it's not always that good, but well, that's the way it is right now. And again, the big story again here today is the weather. We hope you're enjoying it. Thank you for making some time with us here on Afternoon Drive, whether you're listening on the radio or watching on TV or on the YouTube stream. Don't forget, you can watch us live on the YouTube stream as well if you're hanging out on the deck or whatever, and you don't have a radio and maybe have your iPhone next to you. So that is a good way to do it as well. We'll take our first quick break right now. When we get back, we'll bring in Richie Eaton. We've got a lot to catch up on. This is a conversation that usually flies by, so I'm sure that will be the case again. We'll bring him in here in just a moment. Thank you again for stopping by here. Afternoon Drive. My name's Drew Moholland. We'll be right back with Richie Eaton. Keep it here.
Please attend the next meeting for Support the Pink House on the last Wednesday of each month, starting at 6:30 at Pitta Hall on Plum Island, and find out the progress being made. For details, visit the website supportthepinkhouse.com.
didn't see the green of spring until the leaves were falling. I didn't hear your voice till you had stopped your calling. Wasn't until the silence I knew just what to say. Wasn't until you left me I needed you to stay. I didn't hear your laughter till I heard you crying. Didn't see forever after until your love was dying. Didn't want to wear your ring till the offer didn't stand. Now I would do anything to see it on my hand, on my hand. But I am right where I had wanted to be. Though I have come here so carelessly, and you were gone, you were long gone. I guess I'm free. I guess I'm free.
All right, welcome back to Afternoon Drive here on Chopper Radio. My name is Drew Moholland. We have Richie Eaton in the house. It has been a few months, Richie. You went down to spring training. It is good to have you back. Good to see you, my friend.
Well, glad to be back, Drew. It's nice to be here. Always fun to talk with you and chats with sports and everything else. Good time when I was down in Florida, but now maybe I brought some good weather back with me.
I was going to say, nice job out of you here.
It's been a tough winter here, and even down in Florida. I mean, I'm not going to complain. It was like 10 degrees cooler per day than it was last year, but we were in the, we hit the 80s a couple of times, but it was still nice.
Yeah.
But it's always good to be down there. We got to see all the spring training games. Then we went to Tampa and saw the first 4 games of the season. So
you went to all 4 of them, huh?
Went to all 4.
Good for you, man. That's fantastic.
It's amazing too because we bought the tickets in February. I got the same 2 seats for all 4 games, right in the 20 rows, right behind the Red Sox dugout.
Wow.
Beautiful seats, nice aisle seats. So
yeah,
it was good. We had a good time.
Yeah, I always ask people. I haven't done that trip yet. The Tampa Bay one. I've done actually every other AL East ballpark except for that one. And it doesn't look like the prettiest ballpark on television with the carpet and the dome and everything. But I hear it's a pretty good take to go see a Red Sox game.
It was comfortable, plenty of food, and of course it's like a Red Sox home game. There's so many people that cheer for the Red Sox all the time, you know. But it was good. It's interesting watching the game in the dome. We kept hoping to see the ball hit the ceiling, get into the catwalk or something, so you see what the interpretation, but nothing ever come close.
Yeah, well, it is fun rooting for your home squad on the road, isn't it?
Yeah, you can see it when you hear the people cheering. It's you don't expect you expect the home team to be cheering, you know. But
right.
Of course, the only time they had to cheer was the 8th inning of the first game, and then after that it was all Red Sox.
Yeah, that was a rough way. I don't know if you probably didn't feel it down there, but here in Boston, it was like immediate panic on the season after Game 1. I was like, oh boy.
You know what's good about that? Alex Cora, he gave a reason why he didn't want to bring in Kimball so early. Because first of all, Kimball had only pitched 1 inning or 2 innings in spring training because he was back at home with his daughter going through all her problems with her surgery. But he says, I don't want to start these guys too early and get them burnt out early. Yeah. Eventually I'll do it. And then, because we just saw, was it yesterday, he came in and, not yesterday, the day before.
The 4 outs.
The 8th inning and 4 outs, But one thing about Corey, he'll admit, if he makes a mistake, he says, it was a rookie mistake. I forgot I should have changed Martinez left field.
It's refreshing, isn't it, from past seasons here?
Yeah, he admits it. And then even if he, like when he didn't pinch hit for Vasquez, for Leon the other night.
Okay.
He had a good reason why he didn't.
Yep.
He didn't want to, because if you put Bogarts up, he said they're going to walk him anyway.
Yep.
Then I'm going to change my infield position all around. So it said, but he always has a good reason why he's doing it. So I'll buy that. Right or wrong, at least he knows why he's doing it. He doesn't just go by the books.
Yeah, that was my one big complaint about John Farrell. It seemed like every answer was like off a cue card or something, and it would drive me crazy.
Yeah. And sometimes with Farrell, it'd be that, left-handed pitcher, you got to bring in a right-handed batter. Well, they're going to switch pitches. Then now you're stuck in that, what are you going to do then? You go righty against righty anyway, So, but I think Cora goes with his heart a lot. I think maybe he's giving some of these guys too much rest right now, but maybe it'll pay off.
Yeah, he's trying to take that Houston model there. Yeah. He said that worked with the Astros. A lot of days off for these guys, and it kept them fresh towards the end. But
balance it up. Don't put Betts and Bogarts out at the same time, or Betts and Ramirez out at the same time. You got to split up a little bit.
How about those guys, though? Those are some fun young players to watch, aren't they?
Bogart's coming back from the injury. He goes to Pawtucket. He gets a home run, a double in one game he plays there. And he comes back here. He's hitting over 400 now. Another grand slam. Last year, he never hit.
What is that all about? Have you ever seen so many grand slams from one team this early? It's unbelievable.
They tied the Major League record. Montreal Expos did it in 1996. Had 6 before May 1st. Because the Sox didn't get
Yes, kids, the Montreal Expos were a team back in the day.
Yeah. I actually saw a game in the Expo Stadium.
Another not so pleasing place in the eyes, right?
The good thing about that was the subway drove you right inside the stadium. They dropped you up there to
Is that right?
inside the stadium. So you get off and you're right there. Just go right into the gates.
Like underneath, like North Station, or like just on the right up to the side?
It was inside.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, that's because they built it for the
Exposition.
for the Olympics, right?
I thought it was originally for the Expo. I thought it was for the Exposition Expo.
Okay.
Then the Olympics eventually used it after that, but maybe it was all time.
Gotcha. Okay. No, you're probably right.
Yeah. I think that's how they got the nickname, the Expos.
The Expos, is that right? Yeah. Well, that would make sense then, wouldn't it? How was that place to watch a game?
It was interesting. It was good. It was,
a lot of hockey fans at a baseball game?
Well, actually, it's funny. It was an afternoon game, and I was there for the Kiwanis Convention. And the international convention we had there, and got a chance to see the Dodgers and Expos play. We went behind home plate. Again, not many people were there. Just like in Tampa, you don't get many people there. But it was nice to watch a game from. And I remember we bought our tickets, and the next time I got home, I looked at my credit card afterwards. They're a lot cheaper because they charged me in Canadian funds. So instead of paying like $23 a ticket for behind home play, I only paid $18.
Wow, really?
That's a weird small amount. But this was quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
But that was a good time. But no, it's nice when you go to these visiting parks. I'm hoping next year with spring training, I'm hoping the Sox open up maybe in Florida. We'll drive down to Miami and watch the Red Sox play Miami, because they usually play Florida every year. Yeah. It seems like so. It's one of the teams that they get a play.
They really should keep all these East Coast teams either in Florida or in domes for a little while, right? Man, you can't.
This weather's been terrible.
It really was tough. Yeah. This is the first really decent week for baseball. I mean, it's been some cold nights.
And so what happened after tomorrow? They're going to be on the road.
Yeah, of course, naturally, right? Absolutely. A getaway day tomorrow. It's a 1 o'clock game I was talking about. I might try to get in there.
Game. That works out good.
Yeah, I got into the. I did one game a few weeks ago. Again, kind of. I snuck in a fairly warm night. Okay. I got lucky one of the nights, but we went in on one Friday night and saw a game. I can't even remember who they beat, but they got up early and never looked back, which was nice. But
this time of year, kind of like an afternoon game too, because with the Celtics and Bruins both in the playoffs, the conflict. Last night I had my iPad watching the Bruins. I'm watching the Celtics on one station. I got my phone going with another one. You switching back.
It's a busy night, right? Yeah, and although I will say I am always all for an afternoon baseball game. I do not think they play enough of them these days.
Yeah, I agree.
It's tougher. Think about the 10-year-old kid there. It's going to get to school in the morning. A lot of these games end at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it does make it tough. Because then it's good about the getaway days, the Sunday afternoon game, or the usually a Wednesday game, because Thursdays are travel day. Those are good to have.
But the getaway days, even last year, I remember looking, because I'm curious. I work those early hours, so it's a perfect 1 o'clock midweek game is perfect for me. Yeah. But they only had less than a handful of them last year. They weren't doing any of those. So even the getaway days were not easy on the players.
Remember, we used to have doubleheaders. You don't see them anyway. Scheduled doubleheaders. Now it's like a day night, so they get the separate admissions.
Crazy. And, I've heard this argument before. This is not an original thing, but I always think they should play one World Series game during the day. I know the networks would never do it because of the money, but just to get the kids watching a little more.
Especially a Saturday or Sunday, because sometimes that's the time to do it. Well, because it's kind of tough on like a Sunday, because it's usually during the football season, so Saturdays, and then if you do Saturday, you're interfering with the college games. Yeah. So either way, they're going to find a reason for it.
They are.
TV dictates.
It certainly does, but I don't think we're going to change that. But anyways, it would be nice to see, though. I think it would be a good thing. But
we grew up going right after high school sometimes. We weren't many TVs when I started watching it. We used to get out in front of some of the stores downtown. They have a TV out in the window. We all watched the game out in front of there. Valpone's Ford agency used to be on Merrimack Street. They always had a TV set up. You go. Oh, yeah. We all go down after school, watch the game on TV down there.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. That is funny. We were talking. Have you had a chance to get over to your baseball field?
I haven't been over this year yet.
Yeah, I haven't been over yet. You're gonna get over for a see how things are. Did you have to do any landscaping or anything with your name on the field there, with Richie Eaton?
I was there the first game when they played last year, when they had the opening ceremony. When we actually broadcast a game against Linfield.
Yeah,
it's good. They got the infield needs some little bit of work, though. The composition isn't quite right yet. But
really?
Outside of that, it's good. It's a nice looking field. I get a lot of people comment on how they've been there and enjoy playing there. So I'll be over. But it's been, like I said, I just got back a little over a week ago. So and the weather hasn't been good enough to go to New York.
Really. Were you thinking about going back to Florida? Or?
No. 9 weeks was enough. Yeah. No, that's enough. I still like being back here.
Yeah. Is that so? Yeah. You usually pretty much always do that, right? Couple months, or this was a little longer this time.
Yeah. My wife, she's had 2 knee replacements, and the cold weather bothers her. And this year wasn't a great winter, so it worked out good for her to get down here earlier. And now that she's been here, she did do a couple weeks by herself. Yeah. She's comfortable enough. Fortunately, my son drives our car down for us. And we fly down. And this year was kind of a bonus because he come back. He flew back with 2 of the grandchildren, so they spent 5 days with us. So then they rode back with him.
Excellent.
So he had a couple of books. They bought the books, the Harry Potter series on radio.
Oh yeah.
On books, tapes. So they listened to them on the way home, which was kind of good. Broke up
it could pass the time, right?
Yeah, it worked out good. So the kids enjoyed it. And we had a great time having the kids come down with us and everything else.
Cool. Very popular, that J.K. Rowling.
Oh yeah. Yep.
The Harry Potter series. We were talking. Actually, speaking of your wife, I love that story. You told me it off the air, but why don't you tell me you're wearing the U.S. Senior Open shirt? And let's digress. Tell me that Marco Mera story again, because that was a good one.
Well, we go to the Deutsche Bank tournament every year. Kathy's a big golf fan, more so than I am, really. I mean, I like golf, but she's a fanatic. I mean, she knows these players. As soon as they come on, she'll know my first name. I say, well, which one are you talking? Who's that? And she tells me. But we were at a Comcast meeting one time when I was with the bank. We advertised on Comcast, so they had a Mark O'Meara coming down to Mohegan Sun, and he was going to speak to, and we had a chance to play golf with him. Unfortunately, he qualified for a tournament that week, so he had to leave, so we couldn't get a chance to play golf with him. Yeah. But I would have embarrassed myself anyway. But there were 3 tables set up, 8 people in each table, and before the meal, Mark was going to talk to everybody and get talking to Kathy, and she mentioned how we just got back from the Deutsche Bank, and she loves going to the tournament, and she goes every year, blah, 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 blah. Well, we were assigned at table 1, and he was over in table 3 or something. So it was time to go have the meal. We went to sit down, and all of a sudden, when order 1, he actually requested to move over so that Kathy could sit next to him and he could continue talking.
That is so cool.
But he took a picture with everybody, and we all got a picture with him, with us, and a signed glove of his. Yeah. And then he had a picture he'd signed especially for Kathy when he won the British Open, and just signing, to Kathy, thanks for being such a great fan of my game of golf,
Oh, that's great.
And we had a chance. She actually had a chance to run into him this past year at the Deutsche Bank. He was there signing pictures. No, it was at the Senior Open. He was at the Senior in Salem, and that's who he was. So she went over and got a picture, and she talked about that event because he didn't remember it all, obviously, which he wouldn't. It was 10 years ago. Yeah. But she just mentioned how much she appreciated it and everything else, and she'd been following how he's done. But the whole time, all he did was talk about Tiger during the time he spoke.
Good friends, those two.
It was so funny. He says, Tiger, when we're marching down the course, he says, I'll probably stay about 2 feet behind you. He says, why is that? He says, well, somebody's going to take a shot at you. I don't want to miss me, They the ones that don't like you, I don't want to miss you and hit me, But, he said he went to a supermarket one time, and they go do some shopping, so Tiger went his way and he went his way, and the manager of the store comes over and says, hey, listen, if you're a golf fan, I don't know if you're a golf fan, or they didn't know who O'Meara was. He says, Tiger Woods is right. You might want to go get his autograph. Hey, well, I'll see about that, He just played along with it.
I am a golf fan, actually, he says, yes. Oh, that's funny. I went to I was telling you, I went to the practice round on that Senior Open, which is a great, beautiful course, isn't it?
Yeah, Salem. I love playing on Salem.
Yeah, have you played there?
I played there about 7 or 8 times. We had a customer at the bank who was a member, and he invited us over.
That's sweet.
That's the closest I ever came to a hole-in-one.
All right, list off your scores. How'd you do?
I'm a terrible golfer. I told somebody the other day I played golf last Friday for the first time. I was +1. I found one more ball than I lost.
There you go. Yeah, my uncle does that as well.
I was 3 inches away from getting a hole-in-one. So that's the closest I've ever been.
Wow. What hole? Do you remember?
It's 11th or 12th.
11th or 12th, okay. And actually, for that tournament, they kind of switched a couple up.
Yeah. Because there's more TV room on the 9th than there would in the 18th, so they switched the whole back 9 to front 9. Yeah. But for us, it would have been it was either the 11th or 12th. I think it might have been the 11th. Yeah. But whatever it was kind of a big thrill.
That is a beautiful place, isn't it?
I did make the bird.
I was going to ask. I'm glad you volunteered it. Good for you. I had a Eagle little chip rim out yesterday or Saturday for and I did make the bird as well. But first birdie of the season. Yeah. I had a great experience on the golf course with Bernhard Langer for that tournament. I always say he was very serious. And everybody said Bernhard's one of the serious ones. He's taking his notes and very focused on working the course. Really, not too many people talking to him. And this group of kids and like one little, probably, I don't know, 8 years old, mustered up the courage to yell over to Bernhard, Mr. Langer, can you come sign my book? And he just kind of looks at him and walks over, and I'm kind of thinking, I wonder if this is going to go okay. And Bernard goes up there, he goes, for you, anything. Picks up the rope, he has the kid walk up onto the tee box and sign some autographs, takes pictures, and brought a couple other kids over, and I was like, that got me for life there.
You know why it was? Because he said Mr. Langer.
Yeah.
I've noticed so many golfers, if you're polite to them, says, hey, can I have a ball? Can I have a ball? Can I have a glove? Forget it. But please, Mr. So-and-so, would you sign my book? And they'll come over and they'll sign the books. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, they're human, but they want to be treated with respect as well. Don't just assume just because they're a pro, they're going to sign for you.
Yeah.
But there were some golfers that Kathy knows when to ask and when not. Because when she was going, before she had her knees done, she'd get autographs. One year she got 115 out of the 120 golfers autographs. Another year she got 99 out of 100.
Wow, that's impressive.
It was pretty good. But the one she didn't get was Ian Poulter. She's not a big Ian Poulter fan. He didn't want to sign that.
There's a lot of people
She's got
who
him
are
in the
not.
past.
Yeah.
But that particular year, she didn't get him. And he said, no, I got to go somewhere. And she knew he didn't because he was still playing the next day. So he didn't have a flight out or something, you know.
Yeah.
But she, I remember one time she talked about Keegan Bradley. This was probably the first year he played at the Deutsche Bank. And
Local kid, right?
Local, yeah. It's actually Pat Bradley's nephew, the woman golfer, retired golfer. But he had a chance to be with the leader coming in the final round. He had a bad day on Saturday, and he went over the corner and he actually started crying a little bit, you know. And so she, well, I'm not going to bother asking for autograph or anything else. But she says, you know, half hour took him to he came over and they came over and signed autographs to everybody and everything else.
Oh, wow.
But it was emotional for him.
Yeah.
And Phil Mickelson was a great one for autographs, you know, because again, you're either a Tiger fan or a Mickelson fan. And so Kathy was Tiger fan, so you never thought much about Mickelson. But he came over one day and he says, you know, I'll sign autographs after the ninth hole. Well, when the ninth hole was got over, they wanted him to do a TV interview. He said, I got to do the TV interview. So he said, I'll be back.
Yeah.
And a half hour later, he came back and he stayed for 45 minutes and signed for everybody.
No kidding.
And as he's walking out, there's this girl, she's about 3 years old. She's on her father's shoulders. And he says, didn't you get any autograph? No, I didn't get anything. So he goes to his bag, gets a glove, signs the glove. He said, I know it's too big for you now, but maybe someday you can appreciate it. He gave it to her.
Oh, that's cool.
The following year he came in, he went to, there's a food stand right next to the ninth hole. He goes over to the food stand, drops a $100 bill down and says, just take care of the next $100 worth of food for the people.
Wow.
Just like that.
That's
great. No fanfare, but that's the type of guy he was. So he has a good mixture with the people and everything else. And
I think he learned
over a little bit to him.
I think he learned along the way, because if you remember some of those, I think Golf Digest or one of the magazines did each year asked all the players and that within the peers. The least liked player, and he got it a couple times, and actually I think Poulter actually got it one year too recently. But Mickelson in his younger years got it a few times, and I think he admittedly was a bit cocky and into himself in those early years, but he's certainly learned, and people love rooting for him now.
Yeah. We root for him. I mean, even Kathy was rooting for him when the tournament a couple of times, so it's changed, but you do get a thing. But
and you just gotta love his game. He'll go for it, drop it in the water in a big spot, but I went for it. Yeah, he's a fun guy to watch.
That's a good time. I remember just going out that tournament. It's a nice time, and going to Salem was great because I enjoy the course there. We did a few years ago. They had the Senior Open there too. That was back when Rodriguez was playing and Chichi Rodriguez. Yeah, and we actually it was 1985 with there, and we get to be in one of the tents afterwards. It was Burroughs at the time, which is now Unisys, and Gary Player was the guest, so he came in and talked to everybody, passed out his Gary Player hat and stuff like that, talked to everybody. What a gentleman he is.
Yeah, what a great moment at the Masters Par 3. Did you see that? The hole-in-one from Nicklaus's grandson? Yeah. I loved Gary Player made that yelling in the background, "You're going to love it. You're going to love it." And then it went in. That was an unbelievable moment. I enjoyed watching that. That actually reminded me of, I think a lot of people with the Nicklaus walking off the course with his grandson after saying it was his best moment ever. I think a lot of people had memories of playing with their dads or grandfathers on that particular day.
I remember his last time he played the British Open, and we were actually playing at Granite Links at the time.
This is Player or Nicklaus?
This was Nicklaus.
Nicklaus, okay.
Yeah, Nicklaus was playing there, and he walked over the bridge for the final time and stopped, got a big ovation.
Yeah.
But it was the only one time I played at Granite Links, which is a nice course.
Yeah, Quincy, right?
Nice view, yeah. What a view of Boston.
Yeah. You know, I've never had a chance to get out there.
We just finished playing, and then we were watching the tournament was on TV, so we watched that. that. But it was one of these bankers meetings, which is nice to go to.
Yeah.
This was actually America's Community Bankers back then with ACB before they merged with ABA. So, but that was a good time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So it's we're getting into golf weather too. Do you still play?
Oh yeah, we play in the league every Friday morning over at New Meadows.
Oh, nice.
So we're in our spring training now. I played last Friday.
Yeah.
And then we'll play this Friday. Then our season opens up on the 11th. We'll play 18 weeks.
Nice on the 11th. So yeah, that's a good time. So you got a practice round or two in, and then now you're ready to go.
Yeah. Then we'll go right up to the middle of September. Then we have one 18 rounder at the end. We don't play 9 holes there, but then we take a weekend and play 18.
Yep.
Just as a fun wrap up.
Good. Yeah, I checked on my course up in Maine because I'm going to kind of help the family open up the house this weekend, and I don't even think they're open yet. They still got some snow that is just melting, so which is crazy to think about. But I guess some of the trails still have snow up there in Maine, so not quite there yet up there, but we will see.
In the summer, Lockmere is a nice course in Tilton.
In Tilton? Okay.
Yeah, it's a nice course. We go there. We have a timeshare up there at Steel Hills, so we usually play that Tuesday at Lockmere, which is a beautiful course.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is like a weekend getaways with Richie's top spots. Again, Richie Eaton joining us here this afternoon on a beautiful afternoon in Newburyport. The sun is out. It's pushing 70, and it's just the start, the wind up for the next couple of days as we're about to get into the 80s, so it's very exciting. Yet, obviously, you're just back, so you probably haven't had a chance to get to too many of the high school games here yet.
Not yet. I'm trying to follow them on paper and everything else, but I haven't had a chance to get to anything yet. But we'll be getting there within the next week or so. Start checking out the games, the softball and the baseball, and the other events going on. Yeah. Yeah,
we've had who do we have? We had the new names escaping me. The new lacrosse coach in from Newburyport. What is his name? And then Blake, I'll look it up. That's a bad job by me, but good.
Girls are doing well.
The girls lacrosse team.
Yeah, they're doing very well. In fact, they're undefeated. They had an interesting thing yesterday in their game. They were playing Manchester Essex, and Newburyport's 9-0, and Manchester's 8-1. As they're ready to start the second half, the referee came out and he collided with one of the Manchester people, and they went down. He had a big gouge in his head.
Wow.
And they actually got to the point where they couldn't finish the game. Yep. So they have to go back and play the second half. Manchester come up here to play the second half later on.
Well, they have no backup referees at
Apparently
this level,
not.
you know?
Newburyport was leading 5-4 at the time, but both of them were first place in their division. So,
wow. So the second half they're playing today, did you say?
I don't know when they're going to play it now. They'll get mutual time when their schedules are such.
Yeah, that's a freak thing, huh?
Yeah, but they said it's a real freak thing, and he had a big gouge over his head, and just couldn't finish it.
Oh, man. Yeah, you got to be careful. So those officials, you get on them a lot, but they get a tough job, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, in hockey especially, with the pucks flying the way they do, it's amazing how they get out of the way. Of course, the officiating last night wasn't that great in the Bruins game, but we'll worry about that another time.
Yeah, Nick Impressia, by the way, the new lacrosse coach for for Newburyport. I felt bad about forgetting his name. So Nick Impressia, good young coach. I don't talk to too many coaches that are younger than me, and I guess that's going to start happening now. I'll
tell you a funny story. Jerry Moses played for the Red Sox. He's from Yazoo, Mississippi. He was a catcher, and he's the first player in the major leagues I saw who actually I was at a game that was younger than me.
Oh yeah.
So this would have been back in the 60s. So before I retired from the bank, all of a sudden I got a call, a salesman. It was Jerry Moses.
Yeah.
He was selling novelty items, you get for Christmas time, gift baskets. So I told him, I said, you had the answer to a trivia question. He said, I am. I says, yeah. I says, who was the first ball player I ever saw in Major League game who actually played in a game and who was younger than me? Well, to make matters worse, I looked at the roster this year. The entire Red Sox 40-man roster is younger than my youngest son now.
Oh,
so now really it's gone all over. So time has gone by real fast when you look at it.
That will happen, won't it?
But Moses was kind of got a kick out of that one. But he was from Yazoo, Mississippi. It's funny how you remember these different guys.
He's not the only famous guy from Yazoo, right?
I don't know, but I remember some of the other guys. Ponca City, Oklahoma was Lou Clinton.
Yeah.
And Cheroux, South Carolina was Tom Brewer. I mean, you remember these names because they're so weird,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a hockey. Maybe it's not Yazoo. In Minnesota, there's this small town with a funky name, and I remember watching a hockey NHL game once, and there's 2 stars from this small town, and there must be something in the water there.
Must be.
Funny how that happens. Well, Richie Eaton is in the house. Let's take our first break here because time tends to get away from me when Richie's in, so we'll do that right now. We'll be right back. We'll get into a lot more stuff. I want to talk to you a little bit, Richie, about the Coach Stalin interview we just did. I know you're a big Coach Stalin fan, so we'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. This is Afternoon Drive on Joppa Radio. My name is Drew Moholland. More with Richie Eaton in just a moment.
Woman, what's wrong and what's right. Hey, if you're planning on sticking around for a while, you're gonna have to change your style. Ain't gonna be no more messing around. Hey, just get your feet back on the ground. Maybe you don't think I'm serious. I hope that ain't the case. 'Cause if you blow it one more time, girl, you done made your last mistake. Ain't gonna be no more messing around. No more cruising around downtown. I don't wanna have to bring you down. Hey, just get your feet back on the ground. You can't walk a straight line, girl, if you're wearing crooked shoes. No, just get your head together, or it's you who's bound to lose. I guess I have to take time to get you straight within your mind. Ain't gonna be no more job around. Hey, just get your feet back on the ground.
Get your feet back on the ground.
You can't walk the straight line, girl,
Get your feet back on the ground.
'cause you wear crooked shoes.
Get your feet back on the ground.
Driving me crazy, babe,
Get them feet back on the ground.
'cause your feet give me the blues. Your feet back on the ground. Hey, baby, what you doing up there? Breaking my heart, bringing me down. Oh, baby, you messing around downtown. Hey, whoa, 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 your feet back on the ground. Look out, baby, I'm coming down. One thing that I can do, I guess I'll have to take time. Hey.
You know? All right, welcome on back to Afternoon Drive here on Joppa Radio. My name is Drew Moholland. And it's a beautiful Tuesday afternoon here in Newburyport. Feeling like summer is right around the corner. 80 degrees next couple days. We're all very excited about that. We got Richie Eaton in the house, who was nice enough to bring some of the Florida weather back with us. This was very kind of you, Richie, and thank you for doing the show again. We missed you when you went away to Florida there for spring training, but it's good to have you back.
It's nice to be back here doing it. It seemed like we were from winter into summer instead of spring. No spring. But it's nice to be back.
Pretty crazy. I'm not sure. I think you heard that he was on. I'm not sure how much of it you got to see, but we had Coach James Stalin on a couple weeks ago, which was a pleasure for me to speak with a legend. He was great.
Class individual.
Yeah, and we got into all sorts of stories. He spent just like this. He spent the whole hour with me, so it was fantastic. And one story that I believe you were the first person to kind of give me some of the your version of it, but it was my first look into Coach Stalin and into his classiness, I guess, when you told me the story about how after the 99-6 game that is infamous around here, the Newburyport lost, there was a chance for revenge not long after that, and you always said that Coach Staley did one of the classiest things that you've ever seen on a football field, which was, I'll let you tell the story because you tell it better than I do.
Yeah, that was 1951 was the game they lost 99-6, and Newburyport was playing Amesbury, and I don't know what the year was, but Larry Russell was playing, I think. Okay, Larry was the quarterback, and Newburyport was doing like 42-0 early in the second quarter. And I heard a lot of people say, "Oh, here's our chance, 99. Here we go, 100 points. We're going to do it." And next thing you know, the second team was out in the second quarter, still playing. And you could do it right off. You knew Jim was going to run a score up. He had too much class. And so the third quarter started, and Newburyport brought the first team out. The first drive they scored. They never saw the field the rest of the time. It was 49-0 at that time. I think it ended up 49-0. But he played the JVs. He played a bunch of the freshmen. And and the comment was, some people said, "Well, why didn't you run it up? It was a chance to get even with Amesbury." And he says to the players, "Listen, you guys didn't play against them, so it's no revenge for you. And how would you like it if you got beat that much? You wouldn't like it either. So why take it out on a team that had nothing to do with it at all?" But that's just the way he was, and he looked at sportsmanship was a big thing, and class. I mean, I always associated with Jim Staley was class. But and when we have these Wall of Fame dinners, I've been the MC for the last 10, 15 years, I guess. I don't know how long it was. But any time a football player was inducted in the Wall of Fame at Newburyport, Jim would be the inductee, and never had notes. And he would talk like it just happened yesterday. He'd talk all these players, all the different players that went in football. He could tell you all about their whole history, the 4 years of the school, what they did and everything else. And just a great effort. But it was so sincere because everything was so fresh in his mind. Yeah. And it had so much respect. And it was a nice time. Always getting a chance to talk to him because he's so down to earth and he looks very quiet and assuming. With soft voice. Yep. Always dressed well. Yep.
Yeah, he did. And he looks great. He was very sharp. That was we were talking about this off the air, but he was naming kids from naming the positions they played and the years and the cool stories that he remembered, and just amazing, the memory bank after all those years of coaching.
I got a story I can tell you about Jim Staley too. Because he was a quarterback when he played in college. He played for Brandeis, and because then they stopped football, or wherever he played, they stopped, and he either started Brandeis, ended at Brandeis. Yeah. But he was a little All-American. But there was one Patriots game, and he sat right behind me at a Patriots game. He's good friends with Ernie Adams, who's the top consultant for Bill Belichick. Yeah. And Ernie always got him to a game every year. So this one, he happened to be sitting right behind me, which was interesting. And then I heard the story, I could talk with him. When Brady was there his first year, he was at that practice the first week that Brady was there. And he just said to Ernie on the side, he said, "Watch out for this number 12. He's going to be a good one." That's all he said. Just watching it one practice.
Some guy named Brady?
Yep, it was Brady. Wow. Yeah, he said, "Watch out for number 12. He's going to be a good one."
That is unbelievable.
So the following year, he's at practice, and Belichick calls Brady over, introduces him to Jim Staley. He says, he told us to keep an eye on you. He says, "You might have some potential." That was a story that I'd heard, and then I confirmed that with Jim, and it pretty much happened.
That is fantastic.
He just said, imagine just a great eye, just to watch somebody out there practice. The one practice you're at, say, "This guy's a keeper."
Wow. Yeah. That is something.
Adams is still with him all that time, and he's still with the Patriots.
Ernie gets some time on the NFL shows they do with Belichick. And they talk to him.
But he's quite a guy, and he's the one that I guess chooses if the Patriots are going to go to a replay, a challenger play.
Yep.
He's the one who watches and stuff like that. But he's pretty much his confidant.
They could use me for that, I am very good. I have got the rules down. Although now I don't know what a catch is again. I finally just learned what a catch was, and now they're changing it again.
Well, at least you knew. Referees didn't.
That is true. The inconsistency on that was pretty tough, wasn't it?
It's glad. Hopefully, they get something resolved on that. But
Yeah.
it bites you. Sometimes you get the good end of the call. Sometimes you get the bad call. And we
See,
talked about that.
I always say before replay, and I am actually not a fan of replay. I kind of like the mistakes in the game.
The human error.
The human error in all sports.
Yep.
I would be just fine watching a game where we didn't have to go over to a monitor or whatever for 5 minutes. I am under the belief that these things all even out. And usually the best team wins.
The other thing, too, replay shows how right the officials are so much.
Yes.
Although last night they blew it in the Bruins game when they get the
Yes.
4-minute penalty to,
Yeah,
Pasternak?
yeah, and it was the other guy's stick that
his own
got
stick,
him. Yeah.
Yeah, that hurt because they only had 7 minutes to go in the game. It took 4 minutes away from the Bruins with a chance to
Right, and then the Marchand slash, which I thought, it's just, I think it's a penalty.
It was.
You know.
I was listening to the sports show and coming up today, and they said that definitely was a penalty.
Yeah.
But again, it's depending on the position where the referees are. Replay would have done it, but then how much more do you want to drag the game out? You're
Right.
trying to get the games over with quicker.
Yeah, I certainly don't want replay for penalties. That's not a direction I want to go. Although the Penguins game the other night, did you see that? They went to replay on the a puck that the goalie kind of his pad was in the net,
that one, yeah.
and they had this crazy angle. Amazingly, the best angle they had was like from the face-off dot, and they zoomed in, so the guy's pad is in the net, and they were whacking at the pad, and the puck looked like it went in, and looked like you could see separation from the red line, and that would mean the separation means the puck has gone over the goal line, and Crosby went ballistic when they said no goal because it looked like they need some soccer has done the goal technology at a lot of the big levels where they have the whatever it is that once the puck crosses the line, there's a
it's
trigger.
a light or something to trigger.
Yeah, and but which you would think, I'm sure that's coming someday, but that should not be one in this day and age that is questioned. But
How about the one with Tuca's skate broke? That should be
Yes.
an automatic stop, but I don't care. That should be a stop automatically.
Yes, I would like to see our goalie just keep watching the play, but he did that last night too. Tuca,
There was one goal where
well, the net came off the moorings.
Yeah.
And he just stands out of the way, and they eventually called blew the whistle. But
if they don't see it, if they don't blow the whistle,
I just wouldn't mind him stopping that no matter what. Yes, but he's an interesting guy too. Some days looks great, some days feels like the weak spot. But
Khudobin's done a good job as a backup for the Bruins.
yeah, although I don't think you're gonna. I think this is Tuca's team. I don't think you're gonna see him. It is fun watching these sports teams, though, isn't it? Like last night, we
We're lucky with the young guys we have.
Oh, I know. Isn't it fun?
Yeah, Donato, I'd like to see him play, but we
I
had
would
one
too.
shaky game. But he looked good when he first came up, but he hasn't really had much chance to play.
I wonder if he will get. I thought maybe in that Game 7 versus the Leafs, they might go to him when they were struggling for scoring.
He
And
needed somebody to pick him up.
But Cassidy's rolling with his guys, it seems like, and now you're into round 2. So how can you argue?
Success, right?
Yeah.
And Stevens got his first series win, and Celtics with all the injuries they've had last night without Brown, and
That's surprising.
Philadelphia is going to be an up-and-coming team. That's going to be a pretty good rivalry now. The Celtics and Sixers again.
Indeed, yeah. Especially when the Celtics get their guys back for next year. Hopefully, this is fun watching the guys without their stars make a run though too. So I'm enjoying that, and it really is fun to be a Boston sports fan. I know you heard me say that at the beginning about but my high school cousin. I mean, it's so true that he has no idea what it's like. This is just common for him. Like it's not shocking that both these teams are in the second round.
Yeah, with me it was lucky because I started, one of 46 or 56 when Russell came to the Celtics.
Yeah.
So you had that nice era with Russell. Then it was the Bruins took over for a while. Then it became Red Sox. So then all of a sudden the Patriots started winning later on. So how lucky can we be to have the 4 teams like that are doing so well?
I can't remember. Just looking back at the history. I mean, there's been the Cowboys 49ers had that dynasty for a little while.
Yeah, 49ers
I guess that is close.
Steelers had a pretty good run for a while.
Steelers had a good run.
Packers
Yankees had a run in
Montreal,
baseball.
Canadians.
Yes. There's some
teams that,
but as far as the whole city and all of the sports teams,
all the sports, that's
it's
amazing.
unique, isn't it?
Oh, it's great.
It's crazy.
Great to be a sports fan in New
It
England.
certainly is, and I love this time of year too when everything kind of meshes together, and you can kind of do something. I think every night now we're going to have a playoff game starting tomorrow for every other night, which is
Celtics and Bruins are alternating. Then you throw the Red Sox game in there as well. It's kind of, Like I said, great to be a sports fan here.
I always say the one of my favorite, one of the best sporting events I ever been to. I'm a big hockey guy, as you know, so I get into a lot of Bruins games. But the best hockey game I ever went to was the Game 7 versus the Lightning, the year they won the Stanley Cup.
Okay.
Remember Nathan Horton there with like 7 minutes left. That game had, speaking of penalties, not one penalty in that hockey game, and just up and down the whole, and it just from like the midway first period. Being in that garden, and it was electric. The garden was loud as could be, and I always said that it was like you could just feel that one goal might do it. It was, you know, and it was crazy. For me, that's my favorite. What's your favorite sporting event?
Gosh, I've tried to think of that before. Which games I thought, you know, I was at the All-Star game when Martinez pitched, and the big thing was the highlight with Ted Williams beforehand.
Yep.
I've been at Patriots Super Bowl games when they've won. I've been at 2 Super Bowl games. I've been at Celtics and Bruins playoffs.
Which Pats ones did you?
I was there against in Houston and in Jacksonville when they won.
Yep.
I was at New Orleans when they lost against Green Bay, and in '85 when they lost to the Bears. I was at all those 4.
Oh wow!
So, but with the back-to-back 2, 3, and 4 were nice ones to be at. So,
yeah.
But as far in the snow game, you know, when the Patriots had when Brady was called for the sack, and then they moved the tuck rule. I was at that game there.
Forever changed history.
Yeah. I was at the game when A-Rod first played his very first major league game. I was at that game, and that's when Valentin turned in an unassisted triple play in that game.
Wow, yeah. Was
So
Valentin at shortstop or third in that?
Valentin was playing second base then.
Second base, oh, okay.
Yep, it was a line drive to him. He caught it, kind of gradually walked over, stepped on second base, and the runner at first just kept going, kind of just tapped the guy in the head. And I'm scoring in the book as went, oh my God, that was a triple play. Never saw one before, you know.
You still keep score at Red Sox games?
I still keep score when I'm at the games. I don't do it when I'm watching on TV. When I did all the spring training games, the Tampa ones I did, so I do that. But you know, it's whatever events. I mean, I've had some. I think big thrill. First time I ever went to a game at Notre Dame, even though Notre Dame lost, that was a big thrill for me.
Yep.
But you know, look back, Patriots. I think the first Patriots game I ever went to was in 1964, and I remember that it was at Fenway Park.
Yep.
And Gino Cappelletti kicked a field goal on the last play of the game, and the Patriots ended up beating Houston 25-24. And at the time, what impressed me was the players were jumping up and down, throwing their helmets. It reminded me of college kids.
Yeah.
And I remember the next day, and they showed a picture. It showed the scoreboard 24-22 in favor of the guest, and it clocked down to 0, and the ball going through the goalpost.
Oh, that's cool.
25-24 afterwards.
Yeah.
But I remember that was always a big thing there.
That's a good segue, because I was just going to ask you about we lost the legible Gil Santos last week.
Boy, that was tough. What a nice tribute, though, when they talk about all the different things that he did and everything else. And just how blessed are we that we've had the sports announcer? You know, you look at Johnny Most.
Yeah.
We had Kirk Gowdy, Ned Martin, even Ken Coleman. I wasn't a big Ken Coleman, but he was a pretty good announcer.
Yeah.
Gil Santos, and you got Fred Cusick, and there was another one, hockey. There was 2. Bob Wilson.
Bob Wilson, yeah.
And we Johnny Most.
And Dave Gosher was great.
Garmin is a good one. He's been on for so long now. But Santos,
yeah,
we've been blessed with not only good teams, but great announcers, and it makes the game. Johnny Most, though, was tough. He's just unbelievable. Yeah, you know, he didn't care what he said. He was so emotional.
He didn't really care about opponents' names either.
No, he mixed them up. I remember one time the Celtics played a team from Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
He called it, well, it's over the big guy. Now the bigger guy. He couldn't say the names. But you know what? As far as the Celtics, it's interesting. When I was in 8th grade in my freshman year, it would have been 1959 and 60, the Celtics came down and actually went out to the IC gym here in Newport, and they practiced there. Because that was when Arbeck tried to get the team involved, and so they came down, and me and on the basketball team, we actually went in the cafeteria after it was all over, get a chance to mix with these guys. That's when you had Russell, Sharman, Cousy, Heinsohn. No, Heinsohn was there, Jim Luskatoff, and the Joneses. You got a chance to get all their autographs. It was quite a thrill for a kid.
Oh, I bet. It was great.
2 years in a row they were there.
And and Tommy Heinsohn, still kind of that breed, keeping he's still going with Mike Gorman there.
Yeah. In fact, Gorman, I saw him on TV. He's sitting right behind.
Yeah, he's up back there cheering behind Danny Ainge. I thought it was funny. Did you see Danny Ainge? The ball bounced his way. He was all angry.
Yeah, that bad calling.
that was hilarious, I thought.
Yeah, but in fact, they mentioned yesterday that the Kraft was there with his wife.
Yep.
And John Henry and his wife were there along with the Celtics owners, and because Jacobs wasn't around, he was someplace else at the time. But you get the 3 ownership there.
Probably Buffalo, right?
But I could have mentioned the 7th game when the Bruins won the 7th game against Toronto. I don't know if you saw it. I see Tommy Heinsohn with the with a Bruins jersey waving the big flag.
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I swear, I don't know if you noticed this, but I mean, obviously Tommy's a homer, but I swear there are times where I swear there are times where he actually is yelling at the officials as they run by.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, you can hear it. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he gets a little louder if he's actually yelling at them. It's a very
he bleeds Celtics.
He certainly does. But
yeah, so we have definitely been blessed with announcers. Even Gino Capoletto was a great color guy.
Yeah.
So I never took much to Castiglione for some reason. He just didn't hit me as well as an exciting one. He gets too excited than a regular fly ball sometimes,
Yeah.
So I didn't know, but I'd say between Ned Martin and Kurt Gowdy, I always thought was the greatest.
Yeah. Castiglione, I don't mind Castiglione. He's you're right. There is the way back thing in caught before shy of the warning tracks.
Way shot.
Yeah, but for me, I like him. It's that folky voice that's kind of. It's for me. It's the voice I've grown up with, I guess. So I guess that's a little bit different. That it's always tough to switch in because you spend summers with those guys up. When you're away at the lake house or whatever you're doing. That's the voice you grew up with, and you get used to these sort of things, so the change can be tough.
Yeah.
The Gil Santos thing. So Gil was, as you know, worked at WBZ where I am, and this was way into technology days, just 10 years ago. Still used that typewriter. Just banging away at the typewriter at his little post there, and there was always a running joke that sometimes if he was behind or whatever, he would do the scores. This is a little inside baseball, but he would jump on for the first sportscast at 5:00, and there's the Globe. Okay, so we start reading some scores. You can hear the newspaper in the background, which is hilarious.
It was nice hearing the various tributes to him and the different stories about how was supposed to be smoking in the press box, and a couple of times he got smoke and he'd go outside and. Somebody from Dallas was complaining about one time we kind of blew the smoke in their direction or something. But he was good, great announcer. And basically no notes. He just did pretty much off the cuff. Yeah,
and he was telling us one day, I remember when he was about ready to retire, I think he had it probably set in his head that he was just about done. And he said, we were like, yeah, you sound great still, that sort of thing. He's like, the voice has never been the problem. He said, it's my eyes. Yeah. My eyes are failing me up there, and I'm mixing up numbers, and I'm using binoculars, and that was the tough part. And he started doing high school games back in the day. He was doing that's how he started broadcasting. Was doing high school games, and eventually caught a couple breaks, and now he ended up doing what he loved. So
great job at it.
Sure did. Those football first Super Bowl calls are great. The Vinatieri through the uprights. Or as Menino say, Veritech.
Super Bowl champion.
Yeah. Remember Mayor Menino? Veritech through the uprights or something?
Yeah.
Wasn't that something?
We talk about Vinatieri, he said Veritech,
Yeah, he had a tough time with names, Mayor Menino did, but
mumbles.
Yeah, indeed. He had all sorts of them. We have a greatest hits reel of the late Mayor Menino, who was
did a good job though.
He certainly did. So what are you most excited for here? You already mentioned some of the lacrosse teams. I do want to hit on a couple of the final moments here. Got a final sports season of the year. It's kind of always strange, the final sports season. You get to say goodbye to some seniors.
That's always. I know when I do in the football, the Thanksgiving Day game is the one I really get when the players come out. It's their last home game. Sometimes it's not even the Thanksgiving Day game because they may be playing Thanksgiving in Amesbury. When they come out that last time and go through the goalpost, I get emotional because I do. I tear up a lot. I tear up at the national anthem sometimes.
You were saying you've only missed 2 Thanksgiving Day games
since 1953. I started going. I missed 2.
Unbelievable.
One was the time I broke my ankle. I was supposed to be in Amesbury, and we were going to do it for cable. And my cameraman called me up the night before and said that his sister was sick, so they were supposed to have Thanksgiving at her house. They're going to have to do it at his house, so he wasn't going to be able to do it. And I thought about it, and I said, do I want to go over to Amesbury? It was icy, and I'm on crutches. I'm in a cast.
Don't want to break the other ankle.
So I said I wouldn't do it, and I didn't think it would bother me much. I turned the radio on, listened to Win, and as soon as he said the opening kickoff, tears were coming down my eyes. And then there was one more just recently, a game against I knew Port Amesbury was called up about 3 or 4 years ago, and I had another conflict, so I couldn't do that one. But outside of that,
it's a pretty good ratio, though.
But some of the thing. I remember 53, I think, was the very first Thanksgiving Day game I went to. I think that's when Newburyport came out with green jerseys. Yeah. And I think I remember seeing that, and I'm saying, why are they got green jerseys? So I would say to my dad the following year, what color are they going to wear today? He said, that was just the one thing for psychology. I mean, psych job at home. But I remember one of the very first games, a kid from Newburyport ran back a kickoff for a touchdown. I think it was Jackie Lynch. And there was a penalty called against Newburyport for clipping. So I said to my dad, "Is that why they call them the Clippers?" And he started going to Clipper ships, which I never knew what a Clipper ship was. But, but it's funny how you remember these stories of, when you're young. But it's been great. I've enjoyed going to football games. Never played football because I went to IC. And we only had basketball and baseball, and then we only had basketball at through my junior year, and baseball we only had my 8th grade, my freshman and sophomore year. So I only played 3 years there. I had an opportunity to transfer to Newburyport, but I still liked Immaculate with the same kids we had there and everything. So I stayed at Immaculate.
Well, the football team, they get a nice little program going. Should be fun for you to call some games next fall. I'll be here before you know it.
Yeah, it will be. You know, I always look, my calendar starts out in September. That's how when I look at my calendar. September, October, November is football. Then you get January and February is basketball and hockey. Then comes spring training. Then we come on April. But April, May is kind of try to get some spring sports in. But June and July are about pretty much my off months. August is vacation time. And then back into September again.
So what squads will you get out to see here in the coming weeks? You do try to get to as many sports as you can, or do you have your favorites?
I do baseball and softball more than anything. I don't do the cross country ones. It's kind of hard to watch a cross country match. Tennis was kind of tough to watch, going back and forth. Lacrosse, I'd be interested. I know the girls' lacrosse team's doing well. I can see some of the boys' games. I'll probably do the lacrosse. Because this year, Newburyport doesn't have a boys' tennis team. They didn't have enough kids, so the kids that came back, they actually...
You know, I read that. That was shocking.
I was shocked. You know, with the tennis club out here in Newburyport and everything else, there was a big fall in there. But it was 2 or 3 kids from Newburyport. They actually went to the Triton. They're playing for Triton as a co-op.
Wow.
So they're playing on the Triton team. But we tried to do a match. Track is always interesting, but we tried doing track for cable. We couldn't do that too well either. There's too many events going on. Plus, my cameraman almost got killed one time between the shot put and the javelin. He says, "No more of this."
Oh man!
If we can do it from the stands, we do it. But I do enjoy see the games there. Just to see the kids play, just fun to watch.
Absolutely. We got to do something about that tennis. I'm a tennis guy. That was my spring sport. That bothers me that there's no tennis this year.
Yeah, nothing for the boys this year. The girls, they have a lot of people.
We got to do something to reinvigorate that program, I think.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
It's a great game, tennis. It's a great game to play. You can play it late in life too, like golf. You know.
Yeah.
So
that's what I always say with my kids. I said one thing about golf. I bought my 3 kids when they turned 12 years old. I bought them a set of golf clubs. I said, it's the one thing we can do as a family together all the time. And so we usually get together a couple times a year anyway, for sure. More than that in some cases with Scott, because Scott and I play a lot more. But with Tim and Pat, we set aside at the end of the year. We go out and play golf for a couple of days of golf, go away for a
great
golf
game.
Trip. Yeah.
A lot of life lessons in golf. Right? Oh, yeah. Well, Richie, and it was a pleasure as always. I am glad we have the warm weather making its way in here. I know we're both pleased with that, and it's good to have you back home here. We'll have you on again soon, but always enjoy catching up with you and talking about whatever we talk about.
Right. Thanks for having me on. I enjoy it.
A lot of fun. Be good. Say hello to the family for me, and we'll see you around town here.
Thank you, Drew.
All right, there's Richie Eaton, and another hour that just flies by here with Richie, folks. Thank you so much for joining us on a Tuesday afternoon here in Newburyport. The sun is shining, and next time I see you Thursday afternoon, I think it's going to be even warmer, as I believe we're going to kick into the 80s, so very exciting. Don't forget, follow the show at Joppa Afternoons on Twitter. That's at Joppa Afternoons on Twitter. If you did send me any questions today, I just realized I didn't look at all. I got too caught up talking to Richie, which tends to be a problem of mine. I'll do a better job of that next time. If you did have any questions, I'll try to answer them in my free time after this. But maybe I'll ask Richie if we have any. But I see a couple things popping up now, so maybe you were asking questions. Sorry about that. We'll get to them next time. Bad job by Drew. But enjoy the rest of your Tuesday afternoon, folks. We will see you back here Thursday, 3 o'clock, same time, same place. Should be a lot of fun. We appreciate the support, and a big thanks to David Kramer, our producer on the TV side today, doing a great job back there. We will see you all Thursday. This has been Afternoon Drive on Chopper Radio. My name is Drew Moholland. We'll see you Thursday.
Something happened here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I've got to beware. I guess it's time to stop, children. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. There's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their minds. They get so much resistance from behind. It's time to stop. Hear you.
what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. What a field day for the heat. 1,000 people in the street, singing songs and they carrying signs. Most they say hooray for our side. It's time to stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Paranoia strikes deep into your life, it will creep. It starts when you're always afraid. Step out of line, the men come and you way. You better stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going. You better stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going. You gotta stop. Now, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going. You gotta stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going. You gotta stop. Thank you very much. I'll bring it back a few years. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. All right. We're doing good. Feeling good. You guys feeling good? All right. Thank you.
in feathers and masks to scare away their enemies. The frightening thing is not dying. The frightening thing is not living. Scientists guess which is worse, we will ask the medicine or the disease. The frightening thing is not dying. The frightening thing is not living. There's an old man living on the edge of town, with a skull in his window and his shades pulled down, And he laughs at fortune and he laughs at fame, And he laughs at scandal and he laughs at shame,